Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the LaunchDay Shorts podcast. I'm your host, Dean Cvetkoski, a.k.a. WhoDean. And today in studio, we have a remarkable man here. I've heard a little bit about his story, going from a career in pretty much an IT profession, and now just focusing on his passions. And I think this is a story that a lot of people want to hear and what they want to relate to as well, because isn't that what it's all about, right? Especially in business, is pursuing your passions. I'm introducing on the show Majdi Safadi. Majdi, how are you, man?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Very good, very good. It's hot. So I'm boiling right now. I feel like I'm sweating. And yeah, let's not get into, any more details, right? Because I'm going a little too socks and undies there, let me tell you. But it is hot and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying this. You look like, were you in the sun the last couple of days too?
Yeah, we had some hot days over the weekend, so we were down near the beach with the
Mate,
family. And
you
today's
should.
raining, as you would expect in Melbourne.
Yeah, not surprised. I love it, man. That's same as me. It isn't like a natural tan. My face is actually red. I've had to do some really fancy stuff with the camera to make it so that way they didn't look so red. Oh man, we spent all day in the sun yesterday, and I'm there floating. Dude, I was floating in the water and past the waves, and yeah, I think it got me real good, man. I'm probably really silly to be doing that. Should have put some sunscreen on or something, man.
Yeah, I personally don't tan, I burn. Everyone else in my family tans, and I need to slap on a lot of sunscreen. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Because you got a Middle Eastern background, right? So you should be tanning, technically
that's right,
speaking, if your
that's right.
genetics
I
are
got
in
the
there.
short end of the stick.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love it, man. What nationality are you actually, by the way?
I'm Jordanian.
Love that. Love
Yeah.
that. For those who don't know where it is, where would you put Jordanian on the map? Where would you pinpoint the?
So Jordan also is between Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. So
Got,
it's in that cluster of.
gotcha. Somewhere in the
Yeah.
middle.
Yeah, so we're pretty much border on Iraq and Syria.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Love it, man. That's fantastic. That's really, really good.
And
Hey, look,
Israel on
listen.
the West Bank and all that. So we're right there.
Yeah, it's fantastic, man. Absolutely. Listen,
Beautiful country.
I want to know about this IT background. You were briefly mentioning it. How does a guy like you, seriously, how does a guy like you go from IT to, Jeep Spares? From what I understand. So you do Jeep Spares, right?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Fantastic.
My love and passion is.
Love it. How does a guy like you go from IT to Jeep Spares? Like the opposite ends of the spectrum. Like you've gone from, it feels like, when you think of Jeep Spares, you think on one side it's IT, on another side it's like you're a mechanic. So how does that work, man? How did that happen?
Yeah, look, man, to be honest, I got into IT since, say, 2009.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got into it at uni. Wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to do accounting or be a carpenter.
You're
But
throwing
never got
sparrows
into
in the
any of
works
that
for me
stuff.
here, brother.
Yeah.
You did an IT, you wanted to be an accountant. Does the story get any better?
Yeah, I love numbers, man. I do it all in my head sometimes. That's something I want to get into, but stars didn't align. Got into a business info systems degree
Mm,
and did that, and then got into IT. Started off in help desk, started off at the bottom, and now I'm an IT manager, based for a managed service provider.
nice.
And I'm based in a school, so I'm an IT manager in the school. So things are pretty crazy this time of year. And yeah, just 4 or 5 years ago, I've been a Jeeper for a while, and just got tired of all the other small businesses ripping people off, and I just want to provide a different type of service, so more customer relation service based.
Mm,
And yeah, business took off from there. So provide parts, service, help over the phone. It's not always about making money.
mm.
If I lead people in the right direction, it was good enough for me. So yeah, that's where I am now.
I've always looked at, because I owned a Jeep, right? So I used to own a Jeep Wrangler. It was an '07 model. It did my bloody head in, let me tell you. The amount of money I was pouring into it. And anyone that's listening that owns a Jeep will know exactly what I'm talking about, just as much as you do, Majdi. Right? I've always said this, right? I'm like, why wouldn't Jeep why wouldn't Jeep, like the dealerships, have like Facebook groups or communities where people sort of come together, and then you hold events regularly, and then while people are there at the events, you hold, like, you show people the latest gladiator, or you utilize or showcase some of the new parts and spares and things like that, and all the different things that are available to them, and create a community around it. Because you would know, right, the Jeep community, especially if you own a Wrangler, you drive past another person with a Wrangler and the hand goes up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That doesn't happen unless you're on a motorcycle. There's no other like car that you can drive
Yeah.
where
No other
you
make.
cross paths and the hand goes up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that to me seems like there's a really big community around, Jeeps. Is there, like, do you currently have anything, with Jeeps where people can get together and form a community? And have you thought about doing something like that if you haven't?
Look, there are a lot of like Facebook groups that run like for parts or for discussions and all that. There are Jeep clubs that are around.
Mm,
So Melbourne Jeep Owners Club is one in Melbourne, and they have like monthly meetings and stuff, so people get together, they do trips out and all that. It's a great community to get information from, and people starting up. When they sign
mm.
up, they also get four-wheel drive training within the club,
Oh, that's cool.
and all get certified and all that, which is good because like a lot of people that come into this world, like the Jeep world, are not about the four-wheel driving. You know, they love the lifestyle and they want to explore what four-wheel driving is all about. So the
Correct.
training is actually a good way to get through into that. But yeah, look, there's a lot of groups out there, especially on Facebook, where people are willing to help you. I think with Jeep themselves, it might not be something that they would do. It might just be a lot of resources, and there's a lot of people out there that are doing it already.
I just don't see why, like, they couldn't partner with some of these groups. Do you know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
think that would probably be like my advice to you to help you grow your business, right? Is partnering with these organizations. And all it is really, like, at the end of the day, is you could just be, the owners of those groups. You could just be supplying them with spares, you
yeah,
know. But on the main topic, or like where I was leading with that, it kind of makes a lot of sense that someone like you, who's very customer focused, it feels like some of those groups. Again, am I right in saying that? Like, if someone was to call you and look for spares and things like that for their Jeep, correct me if I'm wrong, but the kind of service that you provide to them, where it's just a everyday phone call and, hey, how's it going, and how do I do this? That would kind of serve as part of what you could expect from a community as well. Is Am I right in saying that?
100%. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people there that have done it hard themselves, where they don't take it into a shop or whatever. They get their hands dirty, and they've figured out the best way to do something, and they're willing to share that knowledge. So, that customer area is there, and the focus is there in those groups.
Mm. I get you. I get you. No, it's really good. So we're going, like, dude, how did you get into the Jeep Spares? I want to understand. Like, walk me through it step by step. How did you
Look,
end up getting into a position where you were starting up? You went for, like I said, you're still in IT, right? Obviously, the goal is to move into, the Jeep Spares full time. That'd be really nice.
yep.
How did you get there? How did you one day, were there other businesses that you ran in between? I'm hearing accounting, I'm hearing IT, I'm hearing this, I'm hearing that, man. It's like you got a whole roller coaster going on there,
Yeah,
man. And I love it, right? Because that's what it's all about. It's a bit of trial and error and working out what's right for you.
yeah.
How did you get into Jeep Spares? What
Look,
happened? Run me through that.
I'm the type of person that can't sit still. I always have to be busy doing something, or my mind's working on ways to make money. Doesn't matter how it is.
Hey, yes, you. I'm talking to you. And I know it looks like the interview, but it's actually not. We're taking a really quick, short break so that way you can hear me out. I really want you to hear me out here. If you are a business owner, you are building your personal brand. I mean, you could be anyone. You could be a real estate agent. You could be an astronaut, an IT professional. It really doesn't matter who you are and where you fit into the world. This interview is great for you. If you're really struggling to make content, and let's face it, right? When we get our phones out and we're like, taking selfies and doing videos that way, it just comes across as inauthentic. And the other side of that as well is the fact that it's just so hard to come up with ideas of what kind of content to create. And this is where our interviews absolutely bring a powerhouse and an arsenal of, basically a war chest in terms of your organic content marketing that you're creating. We create the TikToks and Reels for you. Here's the thing. I've got some great news. The great news is that this interview is completely free. We boost your SEO on Google because we go and feature these videos like the one you're watching on YouTube. And not only that, but we also give you free content to post to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all the rest of it as well. So if you haven't already, in the description down below is a link to Linktree where you'll see the opportunity for you to book your very own interview and get free content for your personal brand or your business as well. I'll see you on the other side of the screen.
But yeah, look, I got into the Jeep world. Like I went to an event with a friend of mine. It was the first time going to a Jeep event, and I just caught the say you catch the Jeep bug, and that's what I did. I caught the bug.
Absolutely.
And yeah, then I bought my first Jeep and, got into it, was doing hardcore forward driving every weekend with the boys. And then sort of got to a point where I was getting to know people in the industry. So where to get parts from, who to chat to. And then, yeah, it got to a point where I noticed that there wasn't really much of a second-hand market. There's maybe one or two big players in the game. But support and service wasn't the best at times. And that's where I thought I could bring in that side of things where, I'm more customer focused. And then unfortunately one day when we're out forward driving, I actually had a mishap where I rode off my Jeep. So
no way.
my transfer case, failed. I was going down a muddy hill, had no brakes. And then, yeah, ended up going into a tree at about 40, 50 k's an hour down a really steep hill. There's video of it, which I'll share with you. Yeah, it was just crazy. And then, yeah, I ended up riding off the Jeep in the bush, managed to get it going again, drove it home, and then that was pretty much the start of Aus Jeep Spares. It's like...
Because you were sparing out your old car? Is that what happened?
I pulled my car apart. I'm like, I want to see what happens. Started putting stuff up for sale on Facebook and getting close with some mates and all that. And it took off. And I was like, all right, I've got a shed full of spares, stuff that I know works. And, that was sort of the beginning of the business. And I'm like, started getting good feedback of, your customer service is really great. Want to keep coming back to you. If you can get me this. And I ended up getting the name of the guy that could get really hard parts. And then, yeah, the business just snowballed from there, really. Started opening up accounts with people in the States, working with people here in Melbourne, and then all over Australia. And yeah, just buying and selling parts, importing new parts in. And yeah, the business just slowly grew from there.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I sort of turned a passion into a business. I'm just worried about losing that passion now doing it. But, it's been 4 or 5 years now and still been going good, and I've been enjoying it.
I was just checking my website history, right? Because I'm sitting there and I'm like, surely I have been to this website before. And it looks like I have. So, interestingly enough, I have been here. I didn't buy anything, but I did visit. I'm just looking through. I was like, as we were talking, I was like, you know what? I should probably look this up. Let me just see. You know what I mean? So, no, that's awesome. That's really good. And I could see here, Aus Jeep Spares. You've got literally the Jeep grill as the logo. That's brilliant, dude. I love that.
Yep.
I love that. That's really cool. So, you started all of this off the back of your write-off. Did you end up driving the write-off out or getting it towed out, or did you just dismantle it there?
I drove it out. We fixed what we could. Taped up the airbag to the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And drove it out of the bush back onto the main road.
Wow.
And yeah, drove it pretty much all the way home before the transmission failed.
Yeah.
It had no oil in it, and got the last little bit towed home. But yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So you made it just barely. That's crazy, man. It's funny with my Jeep. I remember when the bushes went on the transmission selector, and we're literally reversing it into the driveway. And it's like literally all these new housing estates, they're like, they've got very narrow roads. And I kid you not, man, it's crazy. We've driven it forward. I put it in reverse to go drive it up the driveway. As I put it in reverse, You know, I'm hearing the clunk clunk, and I'm like, huh, bang, there you go. It says it's in reverse. It's in drive. It's not going anywhere. I literally had to barricade the street. I could not park it anywhere. So, because if you imagine like doing the whole turn, right? So we're going this way, and I've
Yep.
turned, right, to go and reverse into the driveway. When to
Yep.
put it in reverse, it's not going anywhere. And because it was stuck in drive, it's not like I could put it in neutral or anything like that. And yeah, let's not go into like it was so difficult. I ended up having to put signs right around the entire car saying, "Guys, I'm so sorry, but you're gonna have to go around another way because I can't move the car." You know what I mean? It was just so shit. Not even like, even if you called NRMA, like I called NRMA, I was like, surely you guys can move it or do something with it.
Yep.
They were like, oh, it's stuck in gear. I'm like, yeah. They're like, is there enough space for a tow truck? I'm like, no. And then they were like, well, we can't help you. You're going to have to call a mechanic. And I was like, great. You know what I mean? I was like, fuck.
All it was a little piece of plastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, dude, it was just the bushes. Just the bushes, man. Some of the most simplest things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know,
It
it is.
just makes you think, it's like, what engineer thought that would be a great idea?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
why couldn't you think of something a bit more sturdy?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Like a Hilux or something. We could fall off, you know, a 100-meter building and still start up, you know what I mean? Man, the engine could fall out, it'll still run.
Yeah.
But it's a Jeep thing, isn't it? You either just really like the car or you don't. And like you said, you have the Jeep bug, and then you get the Jeep bug, and that's it. You can't get over it, you know? So, man, I totally get it. Well, I ended up selling the Jeep, and I swapped it out for a Mazda CX-3. It was much better on fuel. Less problems. I think the only thing I have to do is service it once a year. But I think that there will be a return to the Jeep Club very, very soon, you know, very, very soon. So definitely,
Well, if
man.
you ever have any advice or any questions, please add in time.
I think I'm going to call you often when that happens. You know what I mean? It's a pity you're in Melbourne, right? Because if you're in Sydney, it would be a lot better. I ain't driving it down, unfortunately. Oh, I love it, man. So, hey, listen, was there any other businesses that you ran apart from Jeep? You know, sorry, from Jeep Spares?
Yeah, my business is called Cooking Services, where I do home repairs,
Yeah.
like PC repairs, and I build websites as well. Aus Jeep Spares, and I also have a car club that I run called HCC Victoria.
Okay.
It stands for High Caliber Cars Victoria. So to try and get a group of people together with the cars that they need, we do club regs, sign offs, and things like that. So yeah, there's a few things I do. But yeah, I work full time. Got a 3-year-old daughter, so
Nice.
that's another full time job there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I've got
good
two,
there.
man. So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I've got two girls. I'm thinking I might have to buy a shotgun soon, but you know.
So they get better.
Yeah, they come with more attitude as they get older.
Great, that's amazing.
They get sassier and sassier, believe me. The amount of
Fantastic.
drama I have to put up with, and it's like, yeah, you know, like the stereotypes that people have with men and women, and you know how women sort of are in their characteristics. The young women are pretty much, you know, a reflection of what they will be when they're older. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
does not change. It's just
yeah.
they're just as sassy when they're young. So don't worry, man. You're in store for a ride. That's for sure.
It's great. I love it. You know.
And they're gorgeous too, right? So like I said, I might have to, you know, start
Yeah.
organizing a shotgun because,
That's
you know, if
it.
anyone's going to break their little hearts, oh my goodness, they don't have an older brother to sort it out, you know? So it's funny, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what's the plans? What's the plans with Aus Jeep Spares? Is there expansion plans? You know, is there something, you know, in particular that that you're hoping for in the next, you know, 6, 12, 18 months, anything like that?
Well, the ultimate goal for me is to leave the IT world behind. Move into the Aus Jeep Spares as a full-time role.
Nice.
So maybe look at getting the mechanic on board, a fitter on board, get a factory, and start providing that full all-round service. So you know, from servicing to fitting to second hands and new parts. So I think within the next 12 months, my plan is to move into a factory and start expanding the business that way.
Mm.
running out of space, the missus only having class, sitting in the study, whilst it's far away from home, the place everywhere outside. So yeah, it's not going to be kind of area just for me and my business.
Yeah, for sure.
Within the next 3-4 months, is, you know, hopefully get another person on board, get a mechanic on board and start providing all that service to everyone.
That'd be brilliant, man. That'd be really good
Yeah.
for people to come past and have that all sorted. Because that is like I did a lot of the repairs and the mods as well myself. You know, and then other times where I was just like, I'm throwing in the towel, forget it, someone else can deal with it. You know what I mean? The moment I heard about the transmission cooler, and then having to, you know, take the whole thing apart and then also have to regas the aircon unit as part of that, I was like, nah, someone else can do that. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm not in for it at all. It's not going to happen, you know? So yeah, definitely, definitely. So like, what would you say is special about Aus Jeep Spares right now? Like you said that it's the customer service point of view and people were getting ripped off, right? So that's kind of the main focus. Is there anything else, or is there an example you can give us of you know, someone who's out there who owns a Jeep and they need spares or they're looking for mods and things like that? You know, is there something specific or in particular that you want your audience to know about Aus Jeep Spares and what it is you guys do and how you're better than everyone else? Because I assume you are.
Well, I definitely am, you know.
Good.
No, look, it's more about being customer focused. You know, a lot of people that have Jeeps are, you know, sometimes they don't know what they're getting themselves into. Like,
Mm,
just like any vehicle, you know, you sometimes drive a vehicle to a mechanic, you drop it off, you get it back, you might not know what's wrong with it or what's happened. Where with me, everything's an open book. I'm not in it just to make money. Like, I make profit, that's great, but it's all about the return customer. So you always get a service with a smile, you know, having questions, no such thing as a dumb question in my book. You know, the stuff that I know that you won't know, so I'm happy to share my knowledge.
mm.
Um, and yeah, it's all about just, you know, building people to be confident in what they're driving. So they know what's in there, they know what they're getting. It's not always about, you know, get the cheapest product on the market because it might not be the safest product on the market. So, you know, you've got to abide by ADR rules and all that. People just don't know what that is, you know.
Yeah, you might blow a
Um,
transmission box and then, you know, ride off your car in the bush.
that's right, you know. It's like also teaching people that, you know, something does go wrong, what to look out for, or what you can do to fix it on the spot. Um, you know, for me, I always carry spares around with me when I'm in the bush, either for my cars or whoever else is on the trip. So, like breakables, just know what to carry with you. And things are much easier than they seem. You know, some people might be overwhelmed by the thought of replacing something in the bush, but majority of the time it's pretty straightforward stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
And like
you
there's
know,
people that like aren't really into forward driving or they're not, you know, they're not avid, they're not out there, they get into the Jeep world. And you know, like you start seeing a lot of those tricks and things that you can do while you're out there. Like for example, if you get a, you know, your tire slips off, you know what I mean, and how you can put it back together with a bit of you know, start your bastard and a lighter,
yeah,
right?
and a lighter, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So like little tricks like that and stuff like that,
yeah.
where you know there's like essential kits that you should have. You know, is there like if would you say that there's like a if you could come up with the top 5 things that a Jeep owner, not any four-wheel drive owner, but specifically a Jeep owner should have with them when they go forward driving, what would those 5 things be, you reckon?
Well, it's pretty hard to say just for drinks, but definitely if you drive a Wrangler, those little, um, you know, plastic bushings that you use for the transfer case and the transmission, because they're things that go all the time. And then once you're in the bush and you don't have one, it's going to be pretty hard to get out without, you know, being towed out. But yeah, just your standard sockets, your, you know, your jack, just everything you can take with you. And never go out on your own. Always have someone with you.
Mm,
Is one of the biggest things in any four-wheel drive scene, not just for Jeeps.
mm, mm,
Um,
mm.
but yeah, just know the limits of your vehicle really. And you know, majority of the time people build their Wranglers or their Jeeps to the point where they're more capable than the actual driver. So don't be afraid to go get
Mm.
some extra training done, you know. A lot of people now just point a vehicle in the direction and the vehicle will just do it. But you also need to be a capable driver of that vehicle. And a lot of people don't, you know, they just jump into, you know, into the deep end and they have no idea. So don't be afraid to get extra training. That's another big thing, especially in the Jeep world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's really solid advice. And Majdi, like, how can people find you, man?
Look, I'm on the socials under Aus Jeep Spares on Facebook and Instagram. My website is ausjeepspares.com.au. So AUS Jeep Spares. And my number is all over the internet. So find me on Google, Facebook, Instagram, wherever it is.
Yeah, awesome, man. That's fantastic. Majdi, thank you so much for coming by, man. It was actually really good chatting to you. Seriously.
Thanks, Dan. Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, brother. No worries. And guys, look, if you do want to reach out to Majdi, directly, you are more than welcome to contact us as well. We can put you in touch. It's support@launchday.au. So if you send us an email, we'd be more than happy to forward it on to Majdi to reach out. Maybe you got a Jeep that you want to spare out. Who knows? Maybe you need some spares. Maybe you want to collaborate and partner with him in some of the projects or clubs that you've got running. If that's you and that's someone you think that you and Majdi could really work well together, feel free to reach out to him. Also reach out to us if you want to get in touch directly as well. We'd be more than happy to help. Majdi, thank you so much, man. And guys, we will see you guys on the next one. See you then.